Those police officers in France wear an American flag on their back. This right here. The American empire is taking the eyes of Frenchmen who wish democracy. And they've had enough, and I'm going to keep this short. But I'm bringing you a treat right now from France. Let me tell you, before I get to that, my job is to talk to white people. I am only talking to white people right now. Now, one other thing is I'm only talking to white people. Okay? There is overwhelming moral reason to support this cause in the streets. Overwhelming moral reason, but there's more. There's a tactical reason to support this movement. And what is that? Where's a white person who can tell me what the tactical reason is to get behind Black Lives Matter today when the only enemy in the world is a multinational billionaire class? Why does it make sense to get behind black leadership? I want a white person to tell me that right now in America. It's because they have the experience. And that experience got you this space right here, right now. White people, this is only for white people. You repeat after me. White people, you repeat after me. Build unity against the elites.
Build unity.
Follow black leadership in the streets. White people, I'm not hearing you. White people, build unity against the elites.
Build unity.
Follow black leadership in the streets. Build unity against the elites. Follow black leadership in the streets. I bring you a treat from my fellow white people across the Atlantic Ocean who have a government, a colonial type government, more like the American government than any other government in the world. They have a presidential republic like we do. They copied the US Constitution in 1789, and they have a message for us today. And I'm going to read it to you, and then I'll be done. Proclamation of the first direct democracy of France, July 14th, 2019, from the streets of Paris. The people have the natural right to form or abolish any government for the purpose of ensuring their own security and sustainability. On this, July 14th, 2019, National Day, we, the people of France, once again declare our inalienable sovereignty. With constancy and obstinacy, the people of France, with or without a vest, denounced the corruption of the Republic and the illegitimacy of this false representative democracy. Access to information induced by the advent of modern communication technologies allowed us to make a lucid observation of the uselessness and even the harmful character of the political representation set up as a system, almost always concussionary, subservient to the big World Bank and the military-industrial complex, which enslaves the people of the whole world. Everyone has the right to speak for themselves. Collective decision-making through citizen structures freed from the Republican yoke can now be achieved. We hereby declare that we have the right to do so in every corner of France, in our districts, our municipalities, our cities, and our provinces. In order to restore the destiny and sovereignty of the French people, we hereby proclaim the first direct democracy of France, and we invite all the citizens of France who love justice and freedom to meet in constituent assembly New institutions which will see the light of day soon in each province of France. Everyone can thus bring their own skills and expertise to the established democratic structures in order to determine together the rules of our mutual ties. We will not go back.
So what do you think when it comes to voting?
Yo, everyone. So, a little over the top of this commentary. We are seeing is the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle. We've been keeping a real close eye on this because, really like the longer this goes on, the more people that get involved and things like that, the less it really is kind of looking like this is really going the way that maybe it was originally intended to, or maybe this is exactly how it was intended to. I'm not really sure, but we're just trying to keep an ear on the ground and actually be there. So, you hear a lot of things about this place from other people. You hear a lot of things about this place from, fucking the news and shit, Donald Trump's tweets. Oh, I'll tell you all kinds of different things. Never fucking believe anything that you hear about stuff like this. Always try and find out for yourself. Like, I understand some people are not in, well, I'll try turning my volume up. Aaron's volume's like quite loud. Nevertheless, hopefully this is good enough. Well, we're gonna mute Aaron for a second while I talk about this. And so you can't believe what you hear from other people about situations like this. This situation, the situation in the world right now, there's far too much misinformation, disinformation, confusion, all kinds of stuff going on to be going around and believing other people. Our own discernment is being tested to a massive level right now, and very much so also that your focus. And this is a very, in a certain way, tenuous time. This is something that I think a lot of people have been preparing their minds for a really long time. They thought that, they think entirely they're just working on themselves or maybe these other things. But really, the meditation that's, taken the world by storm over the last years, the yoga, these kinds of things. Yoga is exactly this. This is a yoga. Yoga is the ability to stay calm and balanced while you are in a weird position and maintain your breath, maintain your center, maintain your discernment, your focus, focused on what you want to be focused on. So we need to be aware of the things that are happening in the world, but not because we are subject to some kind of control that they're pushing against us, but rather because the only way that you can make the most effective next step inside of your life is to know where you are stepping from. And so you need to be aware of current events, but you need to not allow the dialogue that goes along with those current events to rule what you think about it. You have to utilize your own discernment, utilize your own balance, make sure that you're getting yourself to a place where you can actually make a good decision, get the data that you need, get yourself into your heart space, ask your intuition, all these kinds of things. You need to use all the tools that are out there, or the ones that you have crafted for yourself, so that you can ensure that you are in whatever the situation is, but you can come out of it the way that you want to come out of it. Because if there's anything that we have learned about turbulent flow, or that we have learned about chaos, it very much so can turn into anything that you want. So don't spend your time thinking about what the world is turning into. Spend your time thinking about what you are turning your world into. What world are you moving to? We've had a lot of disclosure in recent times, and to a lot of people that might be really unsettling. There's many more waves of disclosure already sitting behind that. At one of these waves of disclosure that sits behind that will be the findings that we are actually navigating ourselves through our perception to a reality inside of a multiverse of our choosing. The reality that happens tomorrow is not the one that happens tomorrow for everyone. It is the reality that you end up navigating to. When you close your eyes, you do not know where you open them back up to. So, and I hear you on this, Kevin. With the TV news doesn't enter my vortex, and usually I'll say like I agree with that, right? If you're a person that feels like you do need to get that side of the data, by all means, go and get that side of the data. Just be aware that you're basically talking to someone who is a salesman, right? They're not sharing their opinion. They're not sharing non-biased news. They're sharing the opinion of the people that run their company. That's what they are doing. There's very rare situations that generally end up in a person being fired in the long run or otherwise blackballed from the industry, where people do actually choose to share what they believe to be the truth, right? Usually they're handed a script and they go in there and they read the fucking script, they collect their paycheck, they go home. They come back the next day, they get the script, they read the script, they collect their paycheck, they go home. It's a fucking job. It's not this like saying that they're like, oh, they were so fucking passionate about making sure that everybody gets to hear the truth. You don't go into fucking mainstream media news really to do that in the modern day. Let's be fucking real. So nevertheless, the real point is we need to utilize our discernment. One of the ways that we can utilize our discernment is by providing you with live images of what the place really is, right? So next time that you hear that the CHAZ is some type of like militarized zone, take that with a little red pill of I just watched some people play fucking double dutch surrounded by graffiti yesterday. How dangerous is this zone actually if people brought fucking jump ropes and are having a good time together? Probably not that dangerous. Oh, well, but it's daytime, Zach. Okay, well, I mean, we just got to get some nighttime footage in. I personally watch a live stream of this motherfucker. I got it piped into my house most of the time, but that's because, well, I'm using it, like I'm staying connected to this bandwidth because it is important to me what is happening inside of this space. So I stay connected to this bandwidth all the time. The other night at 3 o'clock in the morning, after I got done working on some audio, I decided to go look at the thing, and in the middle, right outside of the East Precinct, right in the middle of, I think it's Pike and Broadway, there was 6 dudes. 7 dudes were out there, but 6 dudes were playing some 3-on-3 basketball at 3 o'clock at night. Not being mean to each other at all, just shooting some hoops, just playing a quick game of 3-on-3. So you can say like, oh, it's all crazy at night shit too, but is it really? Is it really? We hear a lot of talk. Talk's fucking cheap, man. I can sell you words all day long that don't mean nothing. There's no problem with that, right? Like words are fucking cheap. You need to actually see what it really is. This is where we can really learn. If you give me a ticket, your mind is a hoe. I could. It's so good. Anyways, you need to take a page out of Thomas the Doubter's book in situations like this. If something's happening in front of you, you're like, I don't fucking know about this shit. Even if it is the resurrection of Jesus Christ, by all means, ask to stick your finger in the wound. Actually get the data that you need to be able to make your own discernment about what is going on. You know what I mean? So hopefully this footage that we'll provide you with tonight, Aaron's just gonna basically be walking around here. He can talk too. I've just, me, I'd be talking fucking fill the whole space. Anyways, nevertheless, we're gonna be walking around here. If there's stuff that you want to see, maybe something you want to closer look at, maybe question that you would like Aaron to go around and ask people or something like that. Obviously, he gets to make the choice on whether or not he feels comfortable going around and asking those questions.
Yeah, you can throw them out. I'll do them.
You throw them out. If we like them, he'll ask them. We're not going to be fucking filming people's face and shit because we're not trying to invade anybody's privacy. We're trying to get a literally on-the-ground documentation of what's really going on here. What are people really spending their time doing in this place? Like all this stuff right here, you can say control this, control that, or whatever. This is a lot of fucking energy. You realize what you're looking at right now is a pretty fucking engaged altar. Like, look how many fucking candles are on this motherfucker. If you know anything about Santeria magic, you know that this thing is just fucking pumping the energy. It doesn't matter whether you agree with what these things says. This is a reality that is coming to be. Look how much energy is put into it. Look how much energy is put into it. All right, we got one request for you, Aaron. If you see a basketball game, you got to dunk on some motherfuckers.
I did see a basketball game, and I was tempted to get in there and play. I don't know if I can.
You should have just came out of nowhere, all 6'8" or whatever you are, and just
608
rejected a ball into this fucking stratosphere, dude. Just out of there.
I was debating setting up and jumping in that double dutch. I may double back and do it.
Dude, they need to get some longer ropes. You can get your
I know.
ass in there.
I remember doing that in middle school. It's been a long time, but I was half decent at it.
You have to do double dutch on your knees, and you still be too big.
Yeah, I had to duck over though, bend in half. There's a lot more. We got the actual precinct coming up around the corner. You get to see you saw in the pictures I posted on Facebook a couple days ago, but you get to see it live.
I would, if because it's still kind of business hours. I would be really interested in seeing whether or not there are some, businesses operational. That's something.
That one restaurant we were next to, where they were doing double dutch in that parking lot. That business was open as a Mexican restaurant.
Okay. Well, here's solid questions if you do engage with someone from Willow. Why are they there? What are they doing there? What do they want the outcome to be? That's just like a real good basic line of questioning. Giving my own perspective on it from what I have been watching, obviously not actually being in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, but I have been paying quite a bit of attention to it. Why are they there? Basically because our current system sucks, and the vehicle that they're using to basically spearhead the approach to the fact that our system sucks is the fact that the police kill an awful lot of black people. That's the primary vehicle. This is why you see the BLM things. All this BLM concept has spearheaded this. If you believe that the BLM concept is that black people shouldn't be getting killed by police the way that they do. And if that sign that he was just looking at right there, I don't know about this fucking George Floyd shit, my boys. I would be very fucking, I don't know about that one. But the next name that was down on top of that thing, if you weren't here, which probably everybody is here now, was here last time, we talked about Breonna Taylor. Okay, I don't know about fucking George Floyd, but definitely this next one down, Breonna Taylor. This is a fucking problem, man. Like, that could be you. That could be somebody you know. This is a no-knock warrant about some fucking drugs that happened months ago for some people that were already in custody. There's no actual, fucking redundant checking on whether or not they need to serve these warrants or anything. They're busting into fucking houses and shooting people. This is not cool, right? There's all kinds of things happening in this country and really in this world that people recognize are not cool. Very much so the people here, each one of them, waiting for the megaphone. They're marching on the precinct right now.
They're announcing a march down the street to West Precinct. This is the East Precinct, I think.
So, nevertheless,
doing it every day.
People are utilizing this as a vehicle to kind of get their shit across. Very much so the spearheading thing is the mistreatment of blacks, racism, racial inequality, these kinds of things. So I personally am not a fan of racial inequality. I'm not actually a fan of really even believing in races. Okay, like that's my level of non-racism personally, is that like the concept of white, black, yellow, red, like this, it doesn't do it for me. I don't do it. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in all that. It's a bunch of humans. You all are fucking earthlings. Everybody's earthlings to me. Maybe that's because I think I'm some kind of fucking alien or something. I'm not really sure. But I'm an earthling too. You know what I mean? So, nevertheless, the real point is that this is, I just think everybody's on fucking Earth. And I count the plants and the dogs and the deers and the people and the cars and the everything into that personally.
So this corner building is the 12th precinct. So I'll go along and look at the stuff on the walls, and I'll pull back and look at the actual front of it.
All right. The building that you're looking at, just to make sure that you caught that, this is a police station. Okay? This is what's known as the East Precinct or the Capitol Hill Precinct. And nevertheless, this building kind of got taken over at one point in time. So going with this story, so that anybody who doesn't understand what happened, there was riots and protesting that was taking place inside of Capitol Hill. The police moved in on this space and were trying to stop basically these riots, protests, or keep them in control, right? Or keep them from getting out of hand. Some of the methodologies that they were using, maybe you don't agree with. Tear gas, beanbag kind of guns, shit like this, all this kind of stuff, right? They continued to protest. They continued to riot anyways. Eventually, the mayor of Seattle, by command of the governor of Washington, Jay Inslee, asked the National Guard that was there now and the police to actually completely withdraw from the neighborhood. So they abandoned the precinct, and functionally the rioters and protesters took over the precinct. It is my understanding that there are actually police operating inside of the precinct at this point in time. I believe they have been let back in. I believe they are able to get in and out. I don't really know whether that's true, judging by this door, unless they're using another door. So I saw a picture of this door, or it was like a live stream or something of this door right here just the other day. This spot, almost right where he is, can be seen from the live stream cameras. But there was another guy that was here live streaming that I follow on Twitch, and there was like cops and stuff like standing at this door at that point in time. So I'm not really sure what the current moment is. I know that at one point in time, they basically gave it back to them. It is my understanding that the people that are, we'll call it occupying, protesting inside of CHAZ, these people are not going into the police precinct. It seems for the most part, despite all the graffiti that you see, you notice that all this graffiti is on top of like plywood that's on top of concrete things, right? Like, this isn't like we fucking graffitied all over the goddamn town, okay? We put the plywood got put up.
To be fair, some are, but there is a lot of plywood up on walls.
To be fair, outside of protest zones, it turns out people in Seattle do a bit of graffiti.
No doubt.
Regardless,
there's some really good graffiti around too.
And speaking from the place of a criminally charged graffiti artist, I can tell you that this is a ripe area for doing some art. Okay, if I was still in graffiti, I would be very sad that I wasn't in Seattle right now, because this is just asking to have the best piece that you ever did. You can stand there and just do it like all day. You know what I mean?
Really. There's guys doing that. It's really cool.
It's not surprising to me that is a situation, but in many cases, a lot of the graffiti. Also, it should be noted that a lot of Capitol Hill was already like painted in eccentric ways, not graffiti, but it had interesting paint. Some of the shit that you see it was definitely like they paid somebody to paint that shit. If like pan to the right again, just slightly, and so there's a wall on the opposite side of the street. Okay, you see this wavy blue wall right there? Like that's not graffiti, okay? So that was painted that way. That's not graffiti. So nevertheless.
Before the graffiti went on top of it, right?
Right. Now there's some graffiti on top of it. fair dues, little graffiti on top of it. All right. So, shit happens. This is really what we need to realize here too, and this is something that I think people get completely twisted about the concept of anarchy. They think like, okay, so anarchy would be this completely fucked up thing. Like no one would follow rules. And if we were to engage anarchy at first, that would be the case. But then it would inevitably balance itself out. Why would we have that case that it would emerge like that? My personal postulation on that is because we're basically inside of a fucking bomb, the place where we normally live. Like, I've been saying this for 25 years. I'm amazed that it hasn't already come true. In certain ways, I think it's coming true, and it's been coming true. It's just like slower release. But I've been saying for 25 years that basically this is a time bomb waiting to blow up. Like, the way that reality is operating, the way that certain people are managing reality is not something that's going to be able to continue. At some point in time, people are just going to get too mad about that. It's not going to happen. So there has been all types of plays, ranging from the fluoridation of your water to the fucking spraying of chemtrails to the entire operation of the bipartisan system to keep you believing that you have some kind of vote when really they're just putting whoever the fuck they want in there. Speaking of water fluoridation,
I believe the Flint, Michigan lawsuits have been going on for a couple of years. Have made it to the federal level, and they might be removing fluoride from making it illegal across the nation.
There's some municipality. There's something that's going on with that.
Yeah, there's something. I get updates that it continues to make progression or something.
They have a movement on it that's called momsagainstfluoridation.org. And they've fucking lawyered up a while ago, and it seems like they actually have some power. Yeah, MAD had a lot of power too. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and this is kind of like another rendition of that. It looks like so, and that's a good thing, really, in the long run. So, nevertheless, what I was really getting to with that is that a lot of what you see right here is the byproduct of a person living inside of a society where they are not allowed to express themselves. And then some type of situation comes about where there's not somebody stopping them from expressing themselves the way that they want to express themselves. And they take that opportunity because they've been wanting to express themselves. We don't need to, fucking punish the people who do graffiti, punish the people that really want to express themselves. We as a society have a responsibility to ourselves and to the rest of society to harbor spaces where people are capable of expressing themselves. If we do not do that, we get depressions, suicides, PTSDs, bipolar disorders, people like men as they are today, where they basically don't believe in many cases. I'm talking about like the standard world, not necessarily every guy. They don't really even believe or understand how to get their emotions out in any kind of effective way. So this has always been the case inside of psychology. If something is massively repressed like that, when it gets the opportunity to come out, it lashes out. There's tons of expressions of this. So this zone, this area, ends up being a place where that lash out can take place, right?
So check this out. See if we can read this. I just noticed this. So Black youth, listen to this. There's 10 demands. Let's see. All cops
committing crimes prosecuted. All
cops out of schools, money to counselors.
Okay. Yeah.
End the 1033 program. Stop the militarization of the police. Reevaluate role, performance of police nationally. White allies discuss white privilege, how it suffocates and annihilates generations of black and brown people.
Don't agree with that one.
Yep, me either. Dismantle the youth jail, hire black teachers, fund ethnic students, fund restorative justice in Seattle public schools.
That's a lot of things for number 6.
A little bit. Cops covering badges, numbers, held accountable by their department and the law. I agree. Or turning off their cams.
Look at the size of this one.
Yeah, let's start up top here. Create a youth council. It must be a paid opportunity for youth to work with government. Continued conversations about dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline through access to culturally relevant education, anti-racist training for educators, supporting restorative justice, and diversion diversion programs for black and brown youth. That was 6 for 8. Slight interjection.
In certain ways, this is answering the what do they want the outcome to be? At least from whoever wrote this shit. Which I'm pretty sure this stuff is probably written. They've been having like community meetings where they're talking about what's important to them. And I think these are probably things that have come up from that. Or
corporations hire with fair pay, living wages, sick leave, paid time off. That's 9. 10. Corporation giants redirect $1 billion to tuition, work, study for black and brown students.
That's fucking some reparation shit. I also don't agree with that.
Yeah, that one doesn't seem very big picture effective for anything. Yeah, it's a little, there's a few less people here because they're marching now, but I was here the other day and it was just as busy as it was early and a bit busier and everybody's hanging out and
yeah, I have noticed a little bit of population fall off from the live streams. And there is some stories that come out of here. There was a guy the other day, it's pretty ridiculous. I saw like Facebook screenshots of the conversation where he had left his laptop, $400, some food, and some supplies in his tent. And he left for a little while, and when he came back, all of that stuff was gone. And so when he started like being like, I got my shit stolen, he ended up talking to one of the guys who's considering themselves, some role of leadership. And basically this person was pointing out to him like, well, it's actually unfair to call it theft. You just know that it vanished and perhaps one of the other community members needed it more than you and this shit. And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? No, this guy got his shit stolen. What are you talking about?
Yikes.
Big yikes on that one.
Yeah, and that's where self-policing doesn't work when that's the mindset.
Well, that's not even self-policing. That's
Well, that,
just like
exactly. So,
if you need it, grab it.
well,
You
no,
know?
I mean, as far as the community response or the community leaders being like, well, oh well, like
Yeah.
that's not doing anything. That's literally doing nothing. That's not self-policing.
We can't call it a theft because I can't prove somebody took it. Well, I mean, it's not here anymore, and it didn't walk away. So, right?
Somebody
stole
else in
it.
the community needed it, Zach.
Right.
Duh.
Okay. Yeah. Well, guess what?
must be
I
happening. You
needed
should be
my
happy
food
about that.
too.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm telling you, this felt the other day so 90s. I mean, even the jump rope, and they have
It's very
with the
interesting.
music that's
These
going.
concrete dividers, these are interesting to me. These were brought in by the city or something.
Initially, I think they moved them.
How would they move these?
I don't know. Obviously, there's somebody in the community that's got an earth mover or something, or maybe they chained up to a truck and dragged them in place. But they've moved them several times. I've seen these move several times in the 2 different times.
These are not barricades. They are bullshit. I agree with that sign.
Oh, I miss it. Oh yeah. Wow, that's
It's
a good
weird.
one.
They didn't. These are too hard to move. Realize I'm constantly on. I'm gonna mute while I talk because of the microphone. These are the kind of things that I'm looking for to go like. So standard individuals don't get shit like this moved around. Okay? This shit is moved around by corporations, by governments, by public works, things like this. A bunch of humans don't get together and go like, you know what we need? We need 250,000-pound concrete dividers that we'll just drag in here and set out all nicely. Like, what? What? Like, no way. So for anybody claiming that there's not businesses operating, there is definitely a food truck right there. So that's a thing. That business is operating.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, to be fair, I don't think most of these are.
Yeah,
But
this
the rest
fucking
of them
I love
agree.
Kevin right here. He's like, no way I'd leave any computer or cash in a tent and roll out the hacky sack. Fuck no. Exactly. Why would you even do? That's the other side of it. This guy's like, I left $400 food supplies and my laptop in my tent and it got stolen. It's like, it's on a tent on the fucking side of the road in a place where like 1 million people are walking around. Like, what would you do
what are you
that
thinking?
for? Yeah, I mean, if you don't lock your bike up, it's likely to get stolen. What do you think is going to happen if you leave laptop and cash unattended? Yeah, I mean, people are opportunistic. We don't live in a perfect world, you know? Like, it would be great if we lived in a place where no one took other people's shit without asking, but that's not realistic. Imagine if that was your laptop with beats and sets on the hard drive. Yeah, exactly. I'd just fucking, spend the rest of my money on a fucking Kalashnikov and come back through here and murder everybody. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that. That's fucked up. No, I would be pissed, though. For sure. Like, how wouldn't you be pissed, dude? Oh, my God. It would suck. Aaron's back at Double Dutch Zone. He's thinking about
Still
getting in on
going.
it again. Look at him.
Oh my
There
God,
he is.
maybe I should.
Be like, yo, what? Can I get in on this? And they're like, you're too tall.
Can I
And
try?
be like, yo, tall lives matter.
All right, I'm live streaming. Is that all right? Yeah. Cool. All right. We'll give it a shot. It's got to go high though.
I can't believe you're trying to do this. This is awesome.
I don't like when hey, you're supposed to go. I can go back to this. Yep. Here we go. Oh, baby. You got one? You got it. You got it.
She got in. That's pretty good.
Ari did it so well earlier. I was like, yep, I got this.
I know.
Don't got this.
Why not, dude? That would be great, dude. That is, we put that right on live stream fails, dude. Very good.
We got it. Yeah. Yeah. Hey! So when you do that, when you're paying attention right here, when you see the house, you should be going.
Oh, man.
When you're comfortable, jump over here to keep your legs going up as high to like get that momentum. You should go in the middle. It's higher in the middle.
Okay.
and you have more time in the middle, and that's where your hearing goes to get in the middle. Dead center if I'm having any shot. Definitely the center. That's so tall.
You know he's wearing fucking boots, Kevin. Guarantee he's wearing some fucking like some work boots. It's all good. He's been wearing the work boots for like 10 years straight, so he knows how they work.
Right when you hit
They're like tennis
clap,
shoes.
you need to make steps. By the time you step, it's already over here. This one's coming down. That's why it's that left step. If you're more visual, as in the, I saw you were taking pictures. Don't pay attention. Smack up. You'll see it.
Okay, quick chat poll. When you're out in a public place and someone makes a random weird noise like that, do you make the random weird noise too? I do make the random weird noise usually. I must say, these individuals here are not diversified enough, and they are very angry and not very supportive of the others around them. Just kidding. That's the opposite of that. What's going on?
Now. But you need to go where that, like. Remember, 1 foot. Yeah, that's right.
He didn't do terrible. He didn't do terrible. He got in and he got 1 jump. That's pretty good.
What do you write with? Right. I would say with your left. I mean, it's really easy to read. Like, the same spot. You land with a left foot. And then go in here. Go in with your left foot, and then you're already in the motion. You right with your left cap, go with your left. If you want to be able to go into where, like, once you get stabilized, you're going to lean over here instantly. Your left foot's not dominant, so you're going to extend it so you can guide right in. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think he's 6'6".
Yeah,
son, look at him. Look at him go. Look at him.
Started twirling, let it.
And then there's the camera. Who's camera?
Hop in.
2, 5, 3.
Yeah, you're waiting. I was letting you know I could pack up.
Aaron, you did it.
Yeah, I did it.
You did it, dude. You did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. 6'6", and you got like, I don't know, like 8 or something. You started trying to twist and shit. You started trying to do tricks.
That's because I like really middle school. I did that shit a lot for whatever reason. I just did that. But.
Watch that guy do graffiti for a second. The dude doing the BLM tag right there.
Yep.
He's got a very interesting style. That's not a very normal style. It's cool. It's a very weird B. I like it though. Like I can read it good. Yeah.
I may not interviewed anybody, but I did double dutch.
Yeah,
what I did down the CHAZ.
Oh man,
True story.
It's funny, dude. Like somebody that was like a CHAZ hater, they like come in here, and that's like the last thing that they would want to see inside of here. You know, they want to have that cognitive bias that this place is like a bunch of assholes, and you're out there. There's like a black guy, a Mexican girl, and a white dude teaching you how to double dutch, and you're a 6'6" white guy, and there's like the other girl who I don't know what, I don't even know races. I don't know what she was. Nevertheless, she sits down, she's like looking into the camera, throwing up peace signs and shit.
I know, I saw that. She was there earlier when we passed by. She was waving at the camera.
Oh man,
for the double dutch.
It's funny.
All right, so there's more graffiti and stuff out here. I don't know if this is probably right on the edges of the zone coming up. You remember Numos?
Yeah.
You know, it's coming up here on the corner.
I've heard a lot of people like this place that you're right next to right now too, Lost Lake. If you look up that sign.
Never been there. This is beer garden. We're staying 6 feet apart. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, at least the other day, right here, this was one of basically the barricades, or like, well, one of the entryways, whatever you want to call it. It had
Look at that piece.
security. Stay home, eat snacks.
Yeah, here's Numos.
Yeah. And this is right on the edge, basically. Like, anywhere out from here is back in standard Seattle.
Yeah, and there's still some more right up to QFC here on the corner. But
Yeah, so let's see. Did I answer all of these? Did we basically get a cover of that thing? Where the hell was it? Oh, what are they doing? Peacefully protesting right now, pretty much. Hanging out in Capitol Hill for the most part. You know.
there's a group going. I think it sounds like they were doing it nightly. I caught some of the speeches before I turned it on, went live, and they were going up to by the freeway. They're going to march over to the West Precinct. Imagine on the other side of the freeway. I'm not really sure it's at, but.
So they are continuing to actually protest. So that's cool. I suppose. Since they're saying that's what they're doing.
A legit
That place
wood
isn't
shop.
open. Herd immunity.
Oh, there we go. That's some music.
Where's that music coming from?
Right here, across the street.
Oh, I couldn't see the guy with the sax yet because it was like it was blurring in with the brick wall.
Live samples, Kevin said.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. If we had better recording, we could get some cool fucking phrases here from whatever that horn is.
Oh, there's some graffiti
Yeah,
in
what
this
are they
parking lot.
doing? So protesting, basically holding this part of the city ransom until the demands are met. That's kind of always
Well,
been it's functionally a long-term sit-in at this
It's one
point
hell
in
of a
time.
statement. Okay.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right.
Oh, cool. I can get a shot of the alleyway through here because they have it barricaded on the other side. Over here. Cool. There's a bunch of graffiti in here. Oh, no. This is a different alley.
Man, the fucking that casket piece is good. That thing's really good too.
There we go, right underneath the fence. Ooh, here's a shot most people don't get. This is really just a back alley back down here.
Yeah, that piece that's nearest on the right is quite great. Oh yeah, the good part of Seattle right there, boys. You're seeing it now. This is the good part of Seattle. That's what you're coming down here for. Never mind Pike's Place Market.
Love all the wispy clouds.
Yeah, it's nice of it to be not rainy today. Those
Yeah,
guys are smoking. Those guys are smoking some pots back there, 100%.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are walking around doing that just fine. Speaking of which, speaking of which,
let me get my dab pen out.
No, I've got some pre-rolls. It was casual like that around here before this whole CHAZ thing, especially the CHAZ thing. Definitely not worried about that.
Yeah, one of my fonder memories is actually what was that? 2000 and it must have been 10. Might have been 9. Might have been 8. Fuck. I don't know, one of those years before any type of medical legalization or anything like that. I was going down to Hemp Fest and I had rolled up like a 1/4 ounce into a blunt And me and my buddy Matt and this girl named Becky, and I think we had some other person with us too. I don't remember who it was though. We fucking were just like walking through the middle of Seattle, smoking this huge 1/4 ounce blunt. It was fucking great.
Oh, so you're saying you rolled a Frank size blunt? Is that what you're saying?
It was a straight up cigar, dude. It was a straight up cigar. The outcome that they want, I suppose I could speak towards that, is really just, this country actually being even what it says it's supposed to be according to the Constitution would be a pretty good start. But there's probably a lot that we could do to make this world a better place. One of the primary things that we could do for that is to, kind of figure out what the hell we're doing with this policing thing going on. Because a lot of people get killed by the police every year. And I'm not saying every single one was unjust in any capacity. I mean, there's a guy, Rayshard Brooks, just very recently, Atlanta, I believe, got killed by cops. But, this guy got pulled over for driving while intoxicated, which he most definitely was. And then when they told him they were going to arrest him for DUI, he fucking starts wrestling with the fucking cops, ends up punching one of them in the face as these two cops are wrestling with them, grabs the cop's taser off of his belt, points it at the cop's face, fires, misses. The other cop shoots a taser at him, misses. Tasers have 2 or more loads inside of them. The guy ends up turning around and running away. He's now going to go run out into the public, running away from the police with a taser. And this is a threat to the public. The officer makes a decision in the moment to, fire on this individual. It brings him down. He dies. Could he have gone for a leg shot or something? Sure. Could he have done, something different? Sure. Was this guy putting himself in a lot of fucking trouble, a very dangerous situation when he decided to start wrestling with police, punching them, shooting tasers at them, taking their tasers from them? Yes. Yes, he was putting himself in a very stupid situation, right? Like, if homeboy didn't want to have this happen, he could have, not decided to go and get Wendy's while he was pissed drunk and maybe hit somebody on the road as a drunk driver, which, might I add, kill more people than police in the United States per year. So it's a little bit more dangerous to society, especially to the person that's not doing anything at all wrong, right? Could just kill some completely just random person. So he could have just not been doing that. Cops can't
come without a gun.
Come without a gun. Gotcha. You're picking out all the really racy stuff to zoom in on there, aren't you?
Well, I zoom in on everything. Just that one just across the street. I think it stands out. There's some really good ones, man. Very creative. This is under construction. Huh. Well, it looks like, let's see. Take the land back, take the precinct. I wonder if this is an extension of the precinct. It's right on the other side, I think. Or it's right over. No, it's across the street. It's a different building.
Love will set us free. Why didn't you zoom in on that one? It didn't say nothing about penises or what?
Where was that?
It's right on the wall. Just see it right.
This one, please?
Nah, you have to step to the left and then look to the right. And you'll see it.
Oh, on this side. I got you.
I'm just fucking with you. So, nevertheless.
Sorry, it's good micro content.
I don't know. It seems real, pretty fucking peaceful.
To be honest, every time it's been pretty peaceful here, except for this time listening to some of the speakers and stuff and the way they were riling up the audience to do the chants that were starting at the beginning of this, where I said, the only thing I said was build unity. And they had a whole bunch of other stuff they added onto that. Getting real angry and riled up. And then there are people on the, they're saying, white people, I'm speaking to white people only. And there's other African-American stuff in the crowd that was really loud. Yeah, I want to hear you, white people. I'm getting all angry. I'm like, Jesus, I'm getting out of here. I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, I hear that. That one did felt like it had some militance to it.
Yeah, like a handful, and they were loud enough though. It's like, it's either riles other people up or gets other people all off put and like, nope, I'm out of here.
And from like me coming from a marketing business perspective, like which very much so if you're like speaking, that's the thing. So nevertheless, like I don't entirely blame him for being like having a very specific message. I'm speaking specifically to
Yeah.
this kind of person, and my message is tailored specifically to that kind of person. You know what I mean? This is, especially if you're public speaking like that to a big old random crowd, this just saves you so much time in the long run. Like someone comes up there, you know, like black guy comes and talks to you.
Yeah, I think so.
Black guy comes and talks to you, like after you do your thing, and he's like, "Yo, I don't agree with what you were saying." Da, 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 da. You're like, "Yo, dude, look, my message was entirely not tailored to you at all. It was tailored towards somebody else, so there's probably a lot of disagreements. It's dunk time. Can you dunk, Aaron?
No, not at this point. I need to work out a little bit.
Oh man,
I double dutch. Be happy with that, Kevin.
that was pretty good. I want to watch you double dutch while you dunk a basketball.
All right, I'll put that in the vortex. We'll see. Some stuff I know is towards the edge
You're
of the
never
vortex,
gonna do
but
it,
it's
no.
in there. No, I don't think.
Kobe raindrops. Yeah, dude, go throw down on these guys. What the hell? Big old tomahawk slam.
Yeah, if I'd been playing regularly, I would. I did good with double dutch, doing it like some childhood game. I don't feel like embarrassing when I shouldn't do good at that because I'm 6'6". I don't feel like embarrassing myself because I am 6'6" and I don't dunk.
Yeah,
No thanks.
I get it. Stick to the things you're supposed to be bad at.
Yeah,
You look like you're
exactly.
good, even if you
You
shitty.
understand? If I go to Mexico, they want my pictures. NBA?
What is this? What is this thing saying on here? Oh, it's defund,
Defund
SPD.
SPD.
Yeah. That's I guess another thing I'd like to touch on just to make sure that everybody is entirely clear on that. When people say defund the police, usually they aren't meaning take all of the money away from the police. They're not saying get rid of the police entirely. There is some people who are saying stuff like abolish the police. That's a different story. But defunding the police, when we're talking about that, what we're talking about is like these guys have military level riot gear. They have acoustic weaponry. They have top tier guns. They got fucking computers that are brand new inside of all their squad cars. Their squad cars are like getting fucking replaced every 4 years. You know what I mean? Like shit like this. This kind of stuff. The extraneous expenditure on the police. You know what I mean? So, oh, damn, that was a good run. That's it's hard to find like a game like that of football. It really is. Like
Yeah.
we're playing like 5-a-sides. It's so hard to find a game of football like that.
You call it football. That's funny. When did you start? Have you always called it that?
I've been a big fan of, for the audience, we'll call it soccer. I've been a
Really?
big fan of soccer for a very long time. Like I don't
kidding.
buy into the games massively at this point in time in my life, but I really I love sports.
sport.
I like the
Yeah.
tactics of sports, the professional mindset of sports, the nuances that a very top end player utilizes in sports. I really like all these nuances, but there's a lot of them inside of football, and I've just watched a lot of it. I think it's
Well, we'll have to.
when you get past the fucking diving people trying to win a game through play acting, it's a really good sport.
It's funny. Soccer's been the one sport I could have gotten into. I remember when I was a kid, I did try different sports or whatever. Ended up like baseball and basketball and football for a little bit. But anyway, I was going to go soccer. And the first day of soccer camp, I got chicken pox. I couldn't go. I missed the whole camp. So I may have totally gotten into soccer, but really I've tried to since then. It's too much running for not attempted shots. And I know people can say the opposite about basketball. It's like constantly taking shots or back and forth. So I can see parts to the strategy, but really if you could elaborate that in a way that you think would help me appreciate the sport, I'm totally down. I haven't really found one yet. Besides, you get lots of agility and lots of stamina.
the problem that you're having right there is really just like that's like a I don't like playing soccer because that's like part of soccer.
No,
Right?
I like playing. I don't mind soccer.
Well,
Like
I
playing
mean, like
recreationally.
I'm
But the
saying
sport,
like
like
the
watching
idea
it or
that like
the
I have to do a lot of running and stuff like this. As far as watching soccer, like you don't do the running is basically just all I mean.
oh, it's
The
super boring. Yeah, watching it for me.
oh no, I mean like watching it in my opinion is great because there's always something happening because the position of every single player is always actually important. So
Sure.
off the ball movement is arguably more important than on the ball movement. So there's a lot
Well,
to watch.
I would never like shit on the sport. I know it takes a lot of skill and a lot of different aspects. I'm not saying it's like any better or worse. It's just one that I don't know. I get what you're saying about certain sports. Certain sports I've resonated with on very, very deep levels,
Yeah.
practically or whatever strategically. But check that out. I was looking into those. Some of them go up to like 25 miles an hour.
What is it? It's like helps you walk.
No, he's walking it, but it's got paddles on the side. It's a uniwheel.
Oh, he can ride it.
Yeah, he's just walking it right now. But some of those go like 25 miles an hour.
Oh,
Like five grand though.
very weird.
So they're all over down here. I've seen them around here for the last couple of years.
Really?
Yeah, those and other ones, like
Fucking
the skateboard
Seattle.
with the big fat wheel in the center of the board.
Yeah, I've seen those a couple times.
Just in case you're wondering, they're still double dutching. Oh no, they're taking a break.
Still the same people over there though. They're
Yep.
gonna get started again.
Dude, that's awesome, man. It's like growing up as a kid, just chilling, hanging out. All right, well, I think I've gone through here pretty through and through.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things about it is that there aren't any sexy parts. You know what I mean? It's really just like
Yeah.
a bunch of people just like hanging out.
Yeah. I mean, not like any. Yeah, really. I mean, sex parts, any weird yelling or violence or confrontations or. I don't know. I think people are probably at a base level. Most people here, like even the one sign towards the beginning said, like, if you think this is starting to look like Coachella, question why you're here. You're here for the wrong reason. And I get that. At the same time, I think a lot of people are just really happy to be out of the house and be able to hang out, like at a park.
Yeah,
so.
would this have as much support if people hadn't just been fucking locked in their houses for a while?
Yeah, I bet not, man. I imagine, just thinking about now, potentially, that psychologically.
Also, like other places they can't go to, you know what I mean? Like they're in Seattle, you guys are still are you guys still phase 1 quarantine or what are you guys?
I believe so. Yeah, because they kicked us out of the park that night at Alki. I think we're still
yeah, so you guys are basically still locked down. It's like actually the only place you can even go and hang out right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's like pulling in all the people that don't want to fight or don't want any drama. They just want to chill. And that energy's outweighing the rest of it. Really, maybe. It's kind of what it seems like. Even the people are trying to get riled up or get other people riled up during the speech. We're just like, no. We just want to chill.
It's kind of like, I don't know, these camps right here, they're weird. They seem like they have so much stuff.
Well, this before, well, maybe the next one up. That's when I was here the first time. Was a lot more policed in a sense. There were gates, chain link gates that people were opening and closing for cars to get through. Yeah. So this one though. Okay, we'll do.
What did he say?
All right, we got to go into the editor and blur his face.
Do what?
We got to go into the editor and blur his face. He specifically said.
Huh. Very weird.
Yeah. Distance equals resistance equals coexistence. Yikes.
I don't get it.
So distance is a good thing. That means you're resisting. And that also means you're coexisting. Like, that's a good thing.
I don't get it. I literally don't get it still.
Good. Well, that's good. Let it be confusing. Just move on, everyone.
Distance equals resistance equals coexistence.
Look, here we go. This is the best sign I've seen so far. Fantastic.
Castle Megastore. That's a porn shop, by the way.
Oh my god. It's still a great sign.
It is a great sign. I'm not
It is a
lying.
great sign.
You're right,
Yeah.
but yeah.
That totally makes sense then why they would do that. Fits their market also. But it is
That
a
was
sign.
at a Castle Megastore, not one in Seattle. Was the first like pornography shop I ever went into.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, the you ever went? I thought like that every. Holy shit, this is cool. Yeah, this is like. This reminds me of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies in the '90s with like the actual real action ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that restaurant open. Bimbo's Cantina.
Yeah, I see. I don't understand what any of the businesses would really have anything to complain about. Like, the businesses that are down there could be opened up and operating, and
Looks like it, yeah.
if that much foot traffic isn't beneficial for their business, there's something else wrong with their business model.
Well, potentially. I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at I don't own a restaurant or whatever, or other businesses down here that be out of business for several months. I know you're saying there wasn't much overhead with.
No, I'm
think
saying if
food-
their business is open and running, and it has that
Right.
many people walking by it, how many there are down in CHAZ, then their fucking problem is not any of that. It's their business model sucks. If your business model is good and you have that many people walking by it, you should be moving stuff.
I got you. Yeah.
And if your business model is set up right, that means you're making money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What? And this is the backside of Numos, right?
Yeah. It's chickens. Yeah. Bok chickens.
I like the wall art on that place. The whole black and white thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really cool
That's
looking.
cool.
They still have to take precautions for They are still being asked to take precautions for that, but in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, they're not in the United States, so who's making them?
Right. It's part of the reason I wanted to get down here. I caught some headline or something recent from like Trump getting all pissed off, and he's not gonna tolerate it or something. I'm like, well, shit. Better get in there while everyone's tolerating themselves then, before it gets ruined.
Yeah, I mean, what's he gonna do? He's sending the military?
I guess, but well, then Inslee, it's all the politics, right? And Inslee, I think.
I mean, I don't think Inslee's gonna do anything about Donald Trump. In no way, shape,
Well,
or
no,
form.
he said. Well, Inslee said that he was. Shit.
What's Aaron doing?
All right, sorry. It's on my phone, so it's a little wonky. Inslee said that it's up to the governor to allow the federal troops or National Guard to come in armed. So he will not allow them to come armed just to overcompensate for an insecure president or something, like just all the politics bullshit. But apparently, illegally though, the Inslee has to actually agree and allow them to come in armed. That was the whole thing I read from the National Guardsmen who came in here initially, and they eventually got backed out because all they had were some riot shields. The National Guard. Well, they were only allowed to use the armory of the police and whatever, and most of the National Guards people weren't even armed.
Yeah, I mean, that is the legal statute. It turns out, what we've seen from this.
However, if they're plainclothes cops, you never know what could happen.
Well, and
Right.
I don't even mean just that, too, though. With what we've seen from this government, if they want something like that to happen, they'll just pass a bill in 2 days, and they'll do it. And
Yeah, that's true. Or executive order.
Hey,
People
guess
don't realize
what?
executive orders are
Everybody,
immediate.
you're gonna get $5,000 extra as a stimulus. P.S. Article number 3,742, section C.42 says that the governor can't make us not come in with military force anymore. So they do this all the time. So that's happened a million times.
Yeah, more than once, that's for sure.
But such is life. Happens sometimes. So yeah, that was the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Yeah, it's not truly autonomous. That's why they renamed it to CHOP. Yeah, I know they were super afraid of the military coming in there, which I think they should. I think they should have manned up and kept it autonomous. I think that's a cop out. Not gonna lie. So, because the CHOP is supposed to be Capitol Hill Occupied Protest. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
I mean, because realize, like, when you say autonomous zone, what you're saying is that we, a sovereign group, are occupying this space. So changing it to occupied It doesn't really actually get them away from that. Anyways, if they are truly occupying the space, then they are also the lawmakers of the space. So there's some kind of disconnect going on there. You know, we're pretending it's autonomous, but we have to follow the rules while we do that. That doesn't really wash to me. I think somebody's
We're just
got
trying to play word
misunderstand.
games to keep from getting themselves in trouble for longer or something.
Yeah, I mean, what are they gonna like?
Well, it's one thing to say
If
like,
they get in trouble for this, it's because the
well, I
fucking
know,
world,
like
the government is completely corrupt, and then it literally doesn't matter what you would have
Right.
done. They could have just gotten you in
Right.
trouble for no reason. They're completely corrupt. You know what I
you
mean?
could be Breonna Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even in this case, like, what they're doing is their constitutional right.
Right.
It's literally their constitutional right. So if the government comes in and shuts that down, then the government is in breach of constitutional right. The only reason why the government exists is to ensure that the people that it governs maintains their constitutional rights. So if they do that, we should throw this motherfucker out. And believe you me, maybe it don't sound that way inside of some people's head, but very much so. The government is the people's to throw out. It's not the other way around. The government don't run you. You run the government. Without you basically subscribing to the things that they provide or prescribe to you, they don't have a fucking job. They have no job. What are they going to do? Sit around and tell people to do stuff that nobody does? They're going to send the military on those people? They're going to send all the police to go out and stop all of the rest of the people. Okay, so how many police do you think are in the United States? How many military are in the United States? And now subtract that number from 300 million and let me know which side you think's a little bigger. Because the people are way bigger.
Getting people amassed to enough of a tipping point that matters. If the resistance is too small, then they get squashed. Right? But if it gets just big enough, then it is unstoppable. Enough people on board, enough people upset, whatever direction, regardless of the narrative.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is where realistically, if that change wants to happen, somebody's probably going to need to leverage some propaganda, in the sense that not propaganda lies, but propaganda dispersal of information with purposeful relevance to the target with which you are speaking or distributing it to. If you don't talk like that, then you don't get them on board. But everybody's got some kind of problem with the way that this country is ran. If they stood together as the people and they each had their problem, but that was their reason to subscribe to the movement, then, you know, you got a reason for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the things the speaker was saying, but I don't think it was on camera right before I came on, was saying that we all took tear gas together and we sat there as the police sprayed us and laughed in our faces, like maced us. Like, he said that a couple times. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I mean, it could be one of those things you say or whatever, but it could be fucking true. It seems a little, I mean, could be. Who knows, man? Those situations. Who knows who they're actually dealing
The
with?
guy who's running that live stream, he had that post on Facebook that was talking about how, like, yeah, I mean, from his account of it, it sounded like a fucking war zone. This isn't just some like random fucking, like, I mean, he's random, but he's not just like some kid. He's like a 45-year-old dude who just happens to live in Capitol Hill.
And writing
You know
a pretty
what I mean?
competent narrative. Yeah, it's not like clearly there's competence here.
Yeah, clearly this isn't just some, like, you know, retard heroin addict or something. You know what I mean? Like, not that there's anything wrong with anybody doing heroin or being slow in any way, because retarded literally just means slowed down.
I am retarded in many areas of life, very much so.
There's nothing wrong with these things. I'm saying that this is a pretty credible person as far as reasonable people go. And, you know, his account of it sounds like a fucking war zone, dude. Literally sounds like a war zone.
Yeah, right up until the 12th.
I don't know about you guys, but unless our fucking country is being attacked by another country, your fucking city should not look like a war zone. For no reason.
Yeah.
No reason at all. If that thing, this is the thing. I'm talking about, we need to throw out the government. If your city inside of a non-occupied, non-attacked country looks like a fucking war zone, your goddamn government already threw themselves out. They already failed. Right? Because they're supposed to keep your fucking shit from looking like a goddamn war zone, right? That's the point of the government, as far as I can see. Aaron doesn't have an opinion on this, apparently.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm also setting up my thing here to switch over my tablet, but yeah, I'm with you.
So, anyways, I don't care if anybody's with me. Logic's with me.
No, yep. Oh, yeah. I'm not in disagreement. I don't think anything you said was really that controversial right there. It makes sense to me.
Where are the aliens? That's a good question. Where are the aliens?
I don't know. Everyone I saw was alien in some way. I'm alien. You're alien. Human alien.
Yeah, I mean, I got my own thoughts about where the aliens are. I don't know whether they're right.
Maybe we should do a show on that. I wonder if we could get somebody on and talk about aliens. I know we kind of did with Adam, but I mean, in the more of the other facets of that perspective.
What do you mean by other facets? Meaning that like they're
or there are other
someone on who's a firm believer.
Or, well, not circumambulate, whatever. He was because he was such a firm believer in one direction. There's only so much conversation to be had there, which is totally fine. Like, so maybe they like has their own experiences or research, or I don't know. At some point, it'd be nice to actually. I'll make some effort here and actually contact some of these people I've heard over the years that are just like incredible researchers, just have incredible stories and just things to share. You know, just let them come on, just share. It's cool. Anyway, just a thought. Oh wait, I can barely hear you. I don't know if that's just me, but like you went to a tin can.
Oh. I know what happened.
All right, good. It's not me.
I switched to my phone, but I forgot to switch the account out on StreamYard. You can hear me now, right?
I can't hear you now. You were good now.
I am good now.
You are good now.
Solid. One place I would really like to be able to use what I've always known would be pretty good litigating abilities is to get some very smart people, or people at least that consider themselves very smart, and get them, but like specific people. There's some people that I would put on this list that they have some ideas that I would really like to cross-examine.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
They're
That'd be
probably
awesome.
not going to
Like,
enjoy
really.
this, but
No,
I'm fine with that.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess people don't know ahead of time. Maybe there's things you can do in those dynamics of the personality of the person being interviewed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would straight up tell them out of the gate, like, look, I'm going to try and cross-examine your point and destroy it. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, just tell them up ahead, and if they come on, then great. You know, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would be great if they can, you know, turn me. You know what I mean? Because like, I just have a lot of questions about their stuff, you know, and would really like to ask them a chain of questions generated by me, because I watch people ask people questions even when they're like trying to discern whether or not that person is like legit. And I'm always just like, you're not asking the right questions.
right. It's always nice when they do, or they ask one that I didn't think of. I'm like, all right, nice. Like when or having some perspective or observation, like Adam when he was saying when he was talking about when he saw the UFO as a kid, and he thought about it a lot, and even as a kid, that he started to think about the Doppler effect, right? Because the way it was moving, and just the way, I mean, because he got there way before I did, and I don't even know but just the fact that the way he had that thought, the way he articulated, the way he got to that, I don't know. I was super excited in the show. I remember I was like, good
I remember this moment. Yeah, it's always cool when someone has some kind of perspective that is like, I don't just want to call it that it's good, you know, but it really is in a certain way kind of that like they took the time to sit there and look at their experience and really, you know, actually ask some solid questions about it and postulate some solid possibilities for those questions before they bought into some kind of answer. Yeah.
Right.
That's one thing that I have a problem with a lot of UFO sightings is that like I've watched an enormous amount of UFO sighting videos, listened to an enormous amount of accounts, and well, you have like certain questions. Why is the video always so shitty? You know what I mean? And then oftentimes like these people, like they'll see like some lights in the sky and boom, they're 100% sold as UFOs. And it's like, yo,
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons why there's lights in the sky, man. Like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe it is UFOs. I'm not against there being UFOs by any stretch of the imagination. If I'm quite honest with this, I think that if there are aliens from another planet and they come down here and they have people that they want to talk to and they're actually of high intelligence, and that means that they've been actually watching this place and paying attention to the kind of people that they want to talk to, I got to be a pretty top candidate. I'm like totally open to anything. I'm like completely non-aggressive, non-violent. Like I'm good at communicating. I'm open to broad ideas. I'm not gonna get like freaked out by the fact that like instead of walking over to me, they teleported because they don't remember how to walk. Right? Like that wouldn't trip me out at all. I'd be like, whoa, shit, y'all can teleport like that? That's fucking dope. You know, I feel like that would be my response. So I'm like a perfect
100%.
candidate to be the alien emissary. I couldn't be less worried about aliens coming here. Okay, could not be less worried about it. I invite that shit. I love novelty. I don't have any like shit. If we went 20 years in the future and we had fucking Arcturians walking around all over the place, I'd still call everybody on the planet Earthlings. Like I'd be like, well, and he'd be like, actually, I'm an Arcturian, and I'd be like, get out of here with that racist shit. While you're here, you're Earth, okay? Like, you're Earthling when you're here.
They'll be like, don't you remember 2020? It wasn't just Black Lives Matter; it was Blue Lives Matter. That was for us. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, like I just kind of always want to throw that in the hat whenever I'm going to say anything about aliens, UFOs. I would love to believe. I'm also a big time skeptic of everything, not just aliens, of everything. Like I'm skeptical of the color green when I see it because I know that that's actually the only color the thing isn't. Right? Because that's what it's reflecting. So I'm skeptical of the fact that it's green. I'm like, what the fuck? It's not actually green. You know what I mean? Like, I'm skeptical of everything. So I believe things that have proven themselves to be true like 50,000 times over before they finally made me cave in and go, okay, fine, fuck it, I'll accept it. You know what I mean? Because like I like my basic take is this, that like the best way to find truth is by trying to fucking destroy it. Because the truth does not need any support. No matter how many attacks you lodge against it, no matter how many angles you take trying to disprove it, the beauty of the truth is none of them work. They don't work. So if you approach it from every possible angle, for lack of a better word, we'll say attack it from every possible angle, it will take some dents. It will take some bruises. Certain parts of it will get blown off. But when you're done coming from every angle, there's a part that's left. That's the truth. And if nothing lasts through it, then the whole thing was an illusion. And that's fine too. That's the truth. The truth was none of this. None of this was true. Yeah. And so I'm totally fine with any of those. But I totally think that the best way to find the truth is by just maniacally assaulting it, trying to prove it to be completely wrong. You know? It will prove itself right if it is truly right. Yeah. I'm not in a rush to get convinced about something.
So I guess in the same vein, similar dynamic. Just definitely got. Thanks, Lady C. In the same vein, allowing truth to prove itself over time, like not necessarily having to spend energy and time attacking it, being open-minded and aware, and never, understanding. The more variables you get, the more data sets you get, the easier it is to determine the probability of a truth. Right? Great. But then there's other things that just like by choice, when I'm not choosing to thoroughly go after a certain thing. I don't know, like love in a sense. I mean, there's thoroughly going after it, but also proving itself in many faceted ways over time. I guess everything proves itself over time.
I think this is like a format of a direct and an indirect attack. If you wanted to put us in a place of coherence, and I think it is important to both attack it directly and indirectly, because like maybe it holds up well to direct attacks, but when you come at it indirectly, oh shit, that part wasn't true. You know what I mean? So like I think it's very worthy to do both of them and realize like I ain't really about the battle metaphor anymore in my life. I don't think you need to battle anything. I use attack just because it pits two things against each other and says that I'm going to come at you. And I'm not going to stop.
So how would you hold on? So how would you, trying to change verbiage or whatever, just not dynamic, how would you use different language to describe the same principle to you now?
in order to see if something is true, I authentically assert any and every question that I can possibly raise about it to test it for inconsistencies. I give it the opportunity to truly express itself by asking it every single thing I could possibly ask it about itself, which probably includes a bunch of shit I haven't thought of yet. So none of them are stabilized. None of them are stabilized.
Right,
I don't believe shit. If anybody got that twisted from this podcast, let me just clarify right now. I believe nothing. Nothing. I have a lot of things in my head and I'm like, there's like a 99% probability that that's good, but I don't believe it. You know, there's a really good chance it's true. It has shown to be true in every single test so far and never shown itself to not be true. But I haven't seen everything. I haven't heard everything. I haven't smelled everything. I haven't felt everything. There's so much shit I haven't done. I don't know shit. I mean, I've spent 30 years of my life collecting data maniacally. And let me tell you, the most important piece of data that I collected along that pathway was the moment that I start thinking that I know something is the minute that I start not learning anything. So I don't know shit. I don't want to know shit. I just like to learn shit. I don't care about reaching the end of that road. The end of that road is not actually desirable for me at all. So Jasmine says in here, the way Stephen Greer describes his UFO encounters sounds like man-made steel ships. If I was an alien, I'd just make a ship out of light, not steel. And this brings me to one of my favorite things about the UFO kind of place. Everybody likes to, and Jasmine, I'm 100% with you. Before I start this, I 1000% even. So a lot of the time they like to act like alien, hyper intelligent creature, right? And that's the idea of the thing, is that it's like so much more intelligent than us. It can travel space and do. And then the alien gets here and does some fucking human shit every single time. Every single time. It's ridiculous. Like they get out and they have a helmet on. Are you sure? Like why? Why? You know what I mean? Like they're intelligent enough to understand how to get like lights, you know, in fucking ships over here at beyond light speed from 5,000 light years away, but they need a helmet for oxygen. Are you sure? Are you sure you're not just projecting your humanness onto this creature that you have never seen? Because they always do that though. They always like underestimate the excessively high intelligence, which is natural, right? Like if you're viewing the thing as being hyper intelligent, you're not as fucking intelligent as it. If you try to premeditate what it's going to do or what it's going to be like, you're going to be wrong. If it's truly hyper intelligent comparative to you, most of what you think is fucking stupid to that thing. That's just the reality of the situation. Compare yourself to an ant. The way that you think about an ant, right? Ants do stupid shit. If I draw a circle around it, it fucking stays inside the circle. Why? Because it's fucking stupid in comparison to me. I'm a hyper intelligent alien species to the ant, basically. Right? I'm also a fucking giant. So if a hyper intelligent, we're talking like our IQ tests go up to like 170, the Mensa IQ test. Let's say some people actually breach that test and have like 200 IQ. Let's assume hyper intelligent is 2000 IQ. You are so slow in comparison to this thing, right? Like its ability to cognize, its ability to put data together, find patterns, etc., so much faster.
But then the diversity in types of IQ, EQ, wisdom, I mean, just different dynamics, different purposes, agendas, desires, some, beings, if you will, just as there's humans that have no desire to, or an ambition to do things with that power to dominate others.
Let's clarify that when we say hyper intelligent, we're just expressing one way that we're actually saying significantly evolved creature.
But not necessarily. I think the point is people think I on the highest levels, if we go from 0 to A to Z, everything's like ascended light bodies can manifest in a matter if it wants to, like, and there's different levels of those dynamics, sure. But it seems very reasonable and logical. There's species that are everywhere along the way, metal ships, those kind of things. But just with intelligence, increased intelligence doesn't necessarily come increased wisdom or compassion or something you would think of as a holistic, evolved creature.
I guess that depends on your opinion of intelligence.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say here. I think like just IQ, you see a lot of really smart races. I mean, TV shows are fine, but I still feel like there's a level of, or humans, like if they got advanced.
Well, realize you're saying just issues. IQ, but then on the other side of it, you call it emotional intelligence.
No, I'm saying to look at it more. If you're talking about intelligence as the whole thing, then sure, I agree. But I feel like at least for me, I was perceiving the emphasis being on just the IQ equaling their
Right. That's what
evolved
I'm saying.
also
Like
compassion.
your intelligence definition is just logical smarts. My intelligence definition is not just logical smarts.
Okay.
The wisdom,
Well, so
the
mine,
feeling that's in there as
Yeah.
well. And then
Okay.
and just inside of basically the mind, you're balancing like logic and your ability to leverage imagination. And that's what really actually gives you intelligence inside of the mind. I don't give a fuck how many books you remembered or how well you can put a pattern together. That doesn't prove no intelligence to me. That proves half intelligence to me. When you can use that based off of some type of stimulus and create something that is novel, now you're intelligent. If that thing can bring across a feeling and an actual message behind it that can teach me in my life through feeling and through expression what not to do, thereby transcribing your knowledge into wisdom through the pathway of art and feeling, then you're really intelligent. If you haven't done that shit, you just remember some shit from books. You ain't that fucking smart.
Boom, micro content. That was beautiful, Zach. That's what I was looking for. So that's what you felt when you're saying intelligent. I was picturing other things. And I don't know if other people were. I mean, I assume that's probably what
I think
you
they
meant.
probably are.
The language.
That's the
language you were
human
using.
definition is logical smarts.
Yeah, yours is great. Yours is way better. Like, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a long time thinking about that one because I considered myself a hyper intelligent individual, and then came to realize, actually, motherfucker, you just remember a lot of shit from some books, and you can put a pattern together. You ain't that fucking smart. And then 20 more years of my life transpired where I tried to gain wisdom, tried to hone my creativity, my imagination, tried to understand emotions, and I'm still in most of those regards functionally retarded comparative to my logical intelligence, but I've gotten a lot better. And I definitely see at this point in time that all of those things are just as much leveraging into my logic as my logic is leveraging into all of those things. So they are a continuum.
Yeah. Yes.
My feelings, if I can't understand, communicate them, and create the ones I want, ain't nothing but a problem. They're just fucking problems all the time. That's not good. When I learn to actually feel those feelings, communicate those feelings, create with those feelings, imagine myself into a new realm with all of these to place an image in my reality, then I get the benefit of feelings because I can make things out of them. So, yeah, we're trying. You can't do the whole fucking puzzle at the same time. Some people start with the borders. Some people start with the interior pieces. Some people are like, oh, I can tell there's a house right here. I'm going to find all the house pieces. It's fine. You're doing the puzzle, and you can't put all the pieces together at the exact same time. You put the piece that's in your hand in the place that it goes, if you can do that. If not, throw it over there and grab a different one. And that's how you do a puzzle. You just keep cranking through them, and then the puzzle's done. Yeah. So, I hope aliens come here at some point in time, just because it would be very novel for reality. I bet you they would have some incredible art. They'd have some incredible technologies. They'd have some incredible perspectives on reality. They would have some incredible stories. They would have some incredible oral history, anecdotal history, all these things. Amazing.
This is why I always try to call in the aliens, right? Campfires, man. Let's tell stories. How great! The first meeting, it doesn't have to be all weird and formal. Come hang out at the fire. How cool would that be? Just that the interdimensional dynamics that go on with fire and transmuting of energy and the
best place to meet someone isn't in a fucking CEO boardroom meeting. You know what I mean? It's at the golf club or whatever.
No doubt, but into this dimension or off of a ship, whatever. Right, and into just hanging out around the fire, communicating, whatever that means. Assuming they can either the telepathy is then on point and it's fine, or they can speak our language or whatever. There's some dynamic in getting a conversation, but
I think if they're really actually hyper intelligent, then the conversation started happening a long time ago.
I agree. Yep, I agree.
Because but that's basically just vectoring off of my own experience. If I kept going down the same pathway that I'm going down now for another 1,000 years, I do not know how it would potentially be possible that I wouldn't be able to communicate across space and time. I don't see how that would be possible 1,000 years from now. it literally seems impossible to me that that will not be the reality in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
just for me. That's just like my own vector, and I toss 1,000 years on it. In 1,000 years, I think fucking like critical mass would be there. Realistically, I think we're already close. I think the fact that now you can have a conversation with somebody on the other side of the earth by video chat because of a device that you hold in your pocket is just one step closer to what you can already do with your mind.
Yeah.
So, you know, the question is, are we intelligent to utilize the tools we already have? Are we intelligent enough? Okay. Maybe we're not. Maybe we have more, maybe that would be the coolest thing about having some type of hyper evolved species that came here. They would be like, you guys know you can do a lot more shit. Like this thing right here, poof. And then they do some crazy stuff that you've never even imagined. And they're like, I can totally teach you how to do that in like 10 minutes. It's super easy. But since you've just seen this thing do that, and it's telling you that you can also do that, and it's telling you that it's going to teach you, you got the placebo effect going in massive amounts right
No
now,
doubt.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even sure it has to actually be true that you could do that thing. You got an alien, okay, hyper evolved species. Like, you can feel this thing reading your thoughts, and it's responding to questions you haven't had yet, right? And then it tells you, like, you know, you're capable of way more than this. Check this thing out. It does it right in front of you, and then tells you that it can teach you over the course of today if you would really like to learn. Think of the space that your brain is in that moment, right? Your entire paradigm of what your vessel, or actually just a living, conscious humanoid, or even just like a being, a living being is capable of, has just been fucking shattered into a trillion pieces. And this thing's telling you that it can impart that information to you easily. And it's telling you that before you asked it if it could teach you. But while it's saying that, you realized the next thing you were going to ask it is if it would teach you how to do that. And it's already answering that. So your paradigm is fucking shattered. It's gone. It does not exist anymore. Human life is not even a thing. You're like, what the fuck is going on right now? So you're in this crazy liminal space of confusion. It might be entirely possible that wasn't even actually possible before, but he can impart, he or she or it or whatever the hell it is, can in fact impart the data needed for you to be able to do that. Maybe you don't even understand the mechanic by which they will do that. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with teaching you, and it has to do with basically making a noise, thinking the proper kind of thought, and then you just do. Now you know. You don't have to like figure it out. And like the first couple times I do it, I'm acting like I don't know how to use my arms yet, and I'm trying to, you know, juggle or something like that. That's not like that at all. The first time that you try to do it, it's like you've been juggling for 10,000 years. It's easy. It like you're making up tricks and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like instantaneously. That could be the possibility. I don't know. What the hell is this thing capable of? I don't know. I know nothing. You know, anything's possible at that point in time. And this thing has just shattered your paradigm right in front of your face. You're like, shit can't teleport. And it's like, really? Boop, boop. And it teleports away and comes right back. And it's like holding the fucking, you know, whatever, like a cup of ice cream from Baskin Robbins. And the closest Baskin Robbins is 11 miles away. And you're like, wait, what just happened? Right? Like, I saw you go away. I saw you come back. He's like, yeah, well, you only saw me because I did it slow so that you would see me do it.
So people, like you were saying before, you'd be the perfect guy for aliens to meet. I would too, for my own reasons and for the same reasons. Like really, it's just like, so what does it take for people to, I guess it seems to me, in some way, shape, or form, you at a soul level or a choice level or an interest level or just coming into your awareness, start to put more weight in your times of your thoughts during your day, to circumambulating things, to projecting out probable timelines, to considering what if this reality happened and viscerally feel like, how would I respond? What would I think? Like, what would be a wise decision, that choice, based on what I know, based on what I understand, or what could be true, like, you know, all that stuff. And it's not like there's a level that can be exhausting, like and cause anxiety. That's what I'm talking about. Like a level of desiring self-awareness. Like I feel like so much stuff in my life has gone so well, and things have not gone as bad as they could, because I pre-planned those scenarios. So much so it was intuitive, not logical, but it was intuitive. I pre-planned enough of a context that gave my like subconscious or unconscious to pre-process that timeline in my something. So when that moment came, it was much easier to just be fluid in that moment because I at least prepared for that moment in some level that it was beneficial. You know, so there's a balance in all that, and just being too. I mean, like that whole dynamic. But it's just, I know as a part of growth in certain areas of life, if you want to learn or something, you can learn about yourself. There's a stage of a process, a season. I don't know. Maybe we'll just call it that because I don't know, man. I don't know how we're supposed to be. These are just things
And
I've gone through.
contemplation's a curious one too, approach from like the standard human mindset, because they tried to make the contemplation basically just thinking. Like you're just thinking about shit all the time. And that's not really how contemplation works. Contemplation is more like having a concept in your mind and then just living your life, but always viewing it through this lens of this contemplation. It's not an anxiety generating thing. You're just living your life. You're just asking this other question about your life too. In everything that you experience. So there's no like anxiety comes from this like either being in a it always comes from not believing you can do it. Otherwise there's no reason to respond to it with the way that anxiety responds. So a lot of the time this is because we don't feel like we have enough time. And I think this is what specifically blockades people from contemplation, is that they want an answer, they want it now, and if they're not getting it, they want to feel like they're doing something to work real hard to get it. Sometimes it's actually best to get it just by letting it kind of flow towards you. It's the idea of like the difference between centrifugal and centripetal force, right? So looking for an answer is functionally a centripetal force. You go from your center outside and you kind of spin around that area and see what there is to collect, and then you bring it back inside. To flip that concept on its head and make it centrifugal, basically imagine that instead of you seeking the information, that the information that you require is seeking you. So it's moving from the outside towards the center, and you simply wait in the center to collect it when it comes through. When you hold the position of contemplation, you don't miss any of the information that's coming through that's aligned with that contemplation. When you're out there trying to collect it, you don't ever catch any of it that brings itself to the center because you're busy out collecting it. There's no one there to collect it in the center. But all of it is always flowing into the center. You are always in this basically, it's a kind of like a toroidal wormhole. And you live in the center of it. That's where you really are, this non-space in the center of the toroidal wormhole. And everything that's out there comes in here, and then it goes back out there. So you can go out there and get it, but realize it also comes here. So maybe you don't need to chase it. Maybe you need to sit there and wait for it, right? Then the question becomes, do I know how to wait? We're waiting for Aaron's connection to come back. So this is a live demonstration on how to wait.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sort of. It's choppy right now.
Am I back?
We're just waiting very patiently, as all good waiters do.
Okay, is it better now?
The audio is good enough, so you probably go for launch.
Okay. All right. So my one drop of wisdom was, wherever you go, there you are.
Absolutely. Yep. So, I mean, an argument can be made that you can't get away from the center flow. It's you are always the center. You sometimes move your center to the outside to go and try and collect more things, but then the outside becomes the inside, and then you can't tell where you are again. But it's a difference in perception. Am I doing work to collect it, or is it doing work to be collected? Right? And if it's all you, it doesn't matter where you do the work. You don't always have to do the work with your body. You can ask the other bodies to do it for you. Like, have you ever tried, instead of reading a book, encouraging the book to give you its information? It works. If you actually try it, it works. Some kids know this. Jen talked about this on her show before, or she's been talking about it recently. She saw his video recently. She's all hyped up on it. But there's just a young kid, and he's got a book open in front of him, and he's basically just like scooping the information out of the book and putting it into his head, right? And you know,
one page at a time.
Yeah. If you took the time to research it, you would be quite baffled on how many tax dollars have been spent on researching exactly this phenomena. It is a very large amount, probably more money than anybody inside of this will see in their life has been spent on researching this. Why? So, there's a reason. You don't necessarily need to find that reason. You just start scooping information out of books and putting it into your head if you want. Yeah.
Yep.
This is the whole idea of Tesla's concept of the brain is actually a receiver, is this whole exact same thing. Basically, you don't even have to change it for good. You don't even have to change it completely to this. Utilize the format, or just test utilization of the format of your brain just operating as a receiver of the information that you want, not actually a producer and not a collector, just a receiver. It's just getting the information that it needs about the thing. You're not going and getting it. You're not doing work. It's doing work to be collected. Realize you, and only you, real you, the wormhole in the middle of the toroid. You are the only substantiator of existence. You are the only thing that brings things into being. Data that exists outside in the toroidal field is a probability. Only upon coming into your center point will it actually collapse into a particle and truly come into being. It needs you. It is already chasing you. It wants exactly you. You are the vehicle that it rides along its own path to ascension when it goes from being a thought to becoming a substantiated piece of matter, and then continues to travel along into ethereality back to where it came, following the exact same path it was following in the toroid. It is seeking you. You do not need to seek it. It is already looking for you. It needs you. It needs you. That's why you think you need it, because it needs you so bad. And you are the same thing. You feel it. You feel it needing you. And you don't have a concept of that. So you believe you need it. It is you. That's the confusion. That's all I have to say about that. It's funner that way, man. I'm telling you, like, I read a lot of books and stuff, man, but it got old. There's so many words. You got to figure out what it says here, and it's like smudged over there, and the copy's not very good on this page, and
Oh, so I just got my Gene Keys book. I'll start scooping, page scooping. Really, I was thinking about doing it because check this out. Here, throw this out here. I was even thinking, depending on when we end tonight, I could just do one right after this. But I was going to start reading from this book, the Ubuntu one, this one's exposing global banking fraud, but the blueprint for humanity and human prosperity and contributionalism, the way they structure their societies. I just figured there'd be interesting chapters or whatever, and I could just read it on here and just be an archive video. And if people want to jump in live or have conversations. So I can start scooping every page before I read. that's what we gotta do. It'll be great. And if I get in the habit, man, it'll just be awesome. I can explain why I do it in the videos. Like, cool, let's do it. Just get other people do that shit. Just by osmosis, right? Or watching me.
Yeah, that's really the thing to do too, is that, just make it a habit. You just start doing the new thing you want to do. Just do it all the time. That's the real test. You realize, like, if you're trying to test a life change, you have to actually change your life to test it. You can't just like dip your fucking toe in the water and then pretend that you got completely wet. That's not the way that works. If you want to test out swimming, you got to get all the way in the pool and risk drowning. That's testing out swimming. So you can't diddle with the thing. You have to actually incorporate it into your life for real, and then really give it time to show its benefits. Otherwise, you haven't even really tested it. So don't go around telling everybody it don't work when you put half-ass effort into it for a week and a half. Like, you don't know anything. That's not true. You never even tried it. So you're just going around spreading falsehoods. And people love that shit. Oh, yeah. I tried transcendental meditation. I went to a 3-day seminar. Really, I bet you got all of the positive effects that you could have possibly gathered from that in 3-day seminar. Would you do transcendental meditation for 6 hours in that 3 days? Oh, shit, 8 hours? Wow. really baffling. You are just an accomplished sage. Get the fuck out of my face. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I've like, and this is not, it might, you know, sound facetious or whatever. This is a real conversation I've had with a person before. It's
Okay, hold on.
ridiculous.
Hold on. It's not me, is it?
No, no.
Okay, because
Although it
I'm
might
trying to
be
think.
you.
I'm like, no,
Is it you?
it's
You
like
tell
those,
me.
so many of those facts apply, right? I did the 3-day seminar. I did the whole fucking legit shit, right? And I've talked about it in different shows, like in the Fearless group. I've talked about it different times. I've talked about it, just my own take on it, right? And I'm trying to think, shit, did I like overestimate the name? Because I would know more so now. Like even if I did, like I know better now. Like it would have been my belief system on that's shifted or whatever. But I'm just trying to think if I did. And I don't think I did. I think the way here's just be additive to that dynamic. The way that something I found was really profound about the way it was explained, about it being an incredible, and the way they articulate it too, being a really good tool basically for you to go into yourself, and just an avenue of doing that. And so one of the things they said, so that the sound that they gave you is one of 20 or so sounds that have been passed on for 10,000 years, intuitively based on the dynamic of the instructor and doing the meditative sessions, and that you repeat it enough so that you remember the sound, but then once you know the sound, you never speak it again. And so you just speak it in your mind, as you're using that as a focal point to bring you into a deeper focus state, I guess. But they talk about the reason that you don't speak it. It's not so much like a secret or keep it away from people. It's because it's like planting a seed in the soil. You can't keep pulling it up above the soil. Like keeping it buried is where it'll grow and actually internalize. And the point is ultimately leaving into it. They say the sound fades away. Like it's ultimately, if it goes away, it's irrelevant. Once you get into the deeper focus states, the point of the sound was to get you there. So whatever you experience, wherever you go, whatever depths of focus, I mean, it's very, very, like there's a lot more that happens, I think, different if you progress on, you actually continue on your own time. But in these, I imagine additional teachings, because this is a 3-day thing, whatever. But like, I mean, it wasn't free. It was pretty expensive, but like, it was a 3-day thing. So like, anyway, I think that's a decent take on it from my current perspective of it. Yeah,
totally. I mean, my thing was definitely not specifically about you. I actually did not even know that you had gone to a 3-day transcendental meditation thing.
I know, because I thought you may have heard it in the Fearless video, and I'm like, oh my god, it could be me. Like, not even like you're calling me out, but it was so funny that it's so much that applied to me, and I could see how douchey that is. That guys would do that. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not one of those guys, am I? Shit.
I heard that. Yeah, I've been in that situation that you're talking about right there. Only the answer was like, wait a minute, yes, I am the douchey guy who did exactly that. Not specifically in that situation. I've never taken a transcendental meditation workshop, but
yeah. I think
I've certainly done at least 8 hours of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit, man. And even if I did say something in the past, like we have the ability to change or grow in our perspectives, and I feel like what I just said now resonates with me pretty well, and I feel like that was pretty wholesome or holistic of the honoring of the practice, open-endedly and whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, you got to really actually give something a shot to say that you've tried it, right? Like, realize you're honoring yourself in this situation. If you half-assed tried something and then you call it try, in a certain way, you're telling your mind that's the best you can do. And it wasn't that good in the situation that we're referencing, right? Like this could be an abstract situation. Pick your own situation, not calling anybody out. Pick a situation in your mind where you said you tried, where you didn't really fucking try. You didn't actually try. You know what I mean? Realize also, I mean, if my time, I'm sure this can happen from any type of thing that you really put yourself into that is really, truly difficult. I personally learned it through climbing. When I started climbing, I considered myself to have a very good work ethic. It was dog shit. I came to learn. I considered myself to try very hard. I tried not hard at all when I started climbing. I came to learn over time. I considered myself to be very dedicated. I came to learn that I wasn't actually that dedicated. All kinds of things like this, all these lines, but particularly in the one of the tried hard, right? Like what I thought was me trying my best when I started climbing was like 1/1000th of how hard I can try. There's probably, I would say in my mind, a 90% chance anyone hearing this, You can try harder than you think you can try. You just have to really want it. You know, we're talking my fucking kids are drowning it or inside the burning car and I need to flip the car over. And that's the only way my kids are going to live. I'm talking about that level of try.
You know, it's
Like,
funny. Like,
I'm doing this or I'm going to die. One or the other.
Like
That's how hard you can try.
like when I get into sports, when I get into working out in after high school and just whatever through my life, different times I get in seasons where working out, getting to the breaking point alone is so exhilarating. You have to. Why wouldn't you push yourself? Like it's just why wouldn't you push yourself? But like
you are a rare bird.
I don't. Oh, okay. I was like,
I'll say that much right there.
I don't need to threaten people. Like, why wouldn't I do that shit?
I mean, most people don't push themselves like that. This is the entire reason why. Like, well, let me just ask you this question: in your time working out, how many personal trainers have you hired?
A couple, the ones that would help push me past limits. I felt like maybe I wasn't gonna, and they definitely did. If I've hired them, I'm like shit because I thought I was pushing myself, and I can go fucking farther. So like, we're working out with buddies who we knew how to push each other's limits. Like the point was, we wanted to be exhausted. If we were throwing up, we fucking did something. I mean, we didn't do it every time, but like that was never a bad thing. It's like, oh right, man, we fucking worked hard.
Yeah. So I see here that I basically, and this is a good thing, I overestimated you when you said that. I thought you were like fully committed to like, I go as hard as I can. And I gave you the benefit of that. So I expected you to come back with I've never hired a personal trainer. Why the fuck would I do that? What good are they?
No.
The whole personal trainer space is based off of this ideology that you can actually go harder than you think you can. And if someone else comes over here, they don't even have to know you. They just need to keep on saying, you can do better than that. Give me 2 more. You can definitely do these. Stop pussying out. You can definitely do it. Like if they're doing that, it turns out you do not 2, not 4, but actually like 6 or 8 more because you're like, I can do this. He's right. This guy I don't know named Chad, who I'm paying $200 an hour, is right. He is right. I can do this. I mean, fuck, I paid for Chad. I should be able to do this. Chad gets great results for people, right? Okay, so do you see now how what you basically hired was a wizard, and he's running a ritual for you. That ritual looks like telling you can do it, and you pay him some money for that. Okay, he's casting a spell on you the whole time. You would call it blessing you, but if you really want to understand it through witchcraft, he's cursing you to do something better than you had done it before. And that curse, since you buy into that curse, believing it's a blessing that you paid for, you take that curse on willingly. That curse is beneficial to you in the sense that you are able to do more than you were before. Here's the problem where that curse plays out. Now you know you can do better.
Yep.
Uh-oh. If that doesn't seem like a problem to you, you've never reached this point before in your life. Because as soon as you realize, fuck, I could have always done better, you look back over your entire fucking life and realize there's like 1,000 places where you failed, where you probably could have been successful because you definitely could have eked out 5% more. And I'm pretty sure I could have done that with 3% more. So it's on the other side of it. That's why I just say it's a curse. Blessings and curses are the same thing. It's just your perception of them. But if I perceive a blessing coming in, it has an unseen curse. If I perceive a curse coming in, it has an unseen blessing. That's really the better way to see them, because this is some anode cathode shit that's happening to the center point, right? Like brethren of one another functionally.
Yeah.
So
and,
in short, personal trainers are wizards.
Right, and also the curse being that now you believe that beneficial thing only became because you paid or put your belief in something outside of yourself.
Perhaps.
But once you know that it's inside of you, then you can look back and see in those dynamics what was actually going on there. You know, like being able to see that the whole dynamic that I came from through the church is that the Father, Son, Holy Spirit were relationships I had most when I really started pursuing that in the inner world dynamic of engagement, telepathy, if you will. But it's connection with, I was realizing I was connecting with those aspects of myself in very thorough ways. And they were using that framework as a glove because that's the cultural appropriation in which I grew up in.
Right.
And so, okay, I let it go. Shoot, I lost the thought and I was trying to let it go instead of trying to bring it back.
Well, you're talking about this idea that
Okay.
basically that's encapsulated in the statement that a lot of people use as mantra. That's like anything can be done through God, or I can do anything with God, as long like God's on my side. As long as
Yeah. Okay, I remember.
but we pay homage to this thing, and it becomes basically the vehicle of our success.
Right. So okay, in the same dynamic, like when people, it's my belief because I've seen both ways in my own experience in my own life, and many other people's firsthand stories. There's a lot of Christians in the Christian dynamic who have stories, their own experiences of dreams or being abducted by aliens or something, 4D or whatever, and they call out the name of Jesus, and the aliens disappear and they leave. Right? And so, to me, there's a really beautiful song by I think this Native American, or one of the original people, Americans, however that would be, that does it in a dress, like 100-pound bell suit. I don't know if I played this for you and Jen. I feel like I did one time, but he's dressed in this bell suit, and at different times, and he kind of does this rap spoken word thing and mixing, and I don't know, it's beautiful, it's softer, it's cool. But he talks about I've seen demons cast out in the name of Jesus, but is it because he's is it because it's the name of God, or just the goodness of that human being, or something like that, right? Or the goodness among, I don't know, there's something really, he articulates really well, but the concept being, it's your own sovereignty. It's you asserting your free will as a sovereign being. No, right? The word you used is Jesus. But you're like, fuck you. No, right? Jesus.
Yeah.
But you did it. You did it.
Right. I mean, if nothing else, is a tool you called upon, and if you wouldn't have called upon it, obviously the tool wouldn't have been there, because the thing was in the space for you to call upon the tool in order to get it out of there, right?
Yeah.
So
whatever
you're still
fine.
the smith, basically.
It's still you. Yeah, it's still you. It's whatever tool you use, fine. Thor still uses his hammer, even after he learned it wasn't the hammer, it was him. You still use the tools. You just know it's you. Tools are fun.
Yeah.
And tools help. Tools are great to, not every tool works for everybody. And even knowing it's all self whatever, there's still tools of interaction between the whole ego that we exist in to some extent, that we are in the world, and everything else, which is a lot.
Yeah, well, tools are just a mechanistic function of getting something done that we've, isolated into some kind of identity, a retrievable identity.
Yeah.
That apparently is completely okay with just being used. You know what I mean? Like, usually when people go and pick up the hammer and hammer in a nail with it, they don't then go, "Thank you, hammer. I appreciate you." Right.
Yeah. It's funny, it just dawned on me. I remember, so I was very passionate. Well, I'm a very passionate person, and thoroughly went into apologetics. And well, that's cool music.
Sorry, I'm doing some household duties, and other people listen to drum and bass here. So
Joe, get out there, Joe. Shut up, Joe. Get on camera, Joe. Come chat with us, Joe. He's at the computer. Put him on.
No, he's not at the computer. I'm inside the house right now. I'm actually switching out my laundry.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, right on. Go. You're doing household shit. I'm like at my parents' house eating ice cream and shit. Zach's doing laundry, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Zach does things too.
Yeah. When you can multitask them.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I was reminded of this story. So when I was when I was a teenager, I believed in in the framework of scripture that I felt was most holistic within itself, right? Which was very expansive and beautiful and great. And but then within the church I was in, they have very specific things of what they believe. They were teaching things, whatever. There's one statement I heard, and my point is my reaction to it at the time. I find it so ironic. Okay, I'm gonna mute you real quick. That's super loud. You got it. Zach can mute himself. Anyway, so this so I remember him teaching. He was one of the youth leaders or something, and he remembered him teaching that God was like, he was teaching to young adults or something, kids, but God was like a golden shovel, and you use the shovel when you need help. If you need help, like God is a golden shovel, and but he's basically God is whatever tool you want him to be. And the audacity I felt inside of me just is a violation of framework. Like, God's not a tool, like God's God, so he uses us and we work with him as we're his sons and children, but you know, but he's not a tool. You know, just like get him to come down and do whatever you want, like a vending machine, you know. But it's so funny because like got different dynamics now. And we got as you, and you use all the sorts of tools as you, and so he's right, right in a lot of ways. But he was wrong within his own church's belief system. That was the thing that bothered me. The lack of coherence. If this is what you say you believe, this is very wrong teaching. This is bad. All right, that's funny. You can unmute, Zach. You can comment. He's banging around the laundry still, I guess. Huh.
You put me on blast while I'm walking through a pitch dark room with my hands full of laundry, but I got myself confused so I can comment.
Nice. You should walk backwards to that room next time.
Might as well. I mean,
yeah.
We've already done this part, so yeah. I mean, we always got to fucking be wary of the leery ass teachings, even if 99% of something that somebody taught was great. They still might, you know, teach you some shit.
Yeah. Well, it's maybe funny in that dynamic of like, what bothered me at the time about it, you know, the indignance that I felt or whatever was because it was just incoherent within the structure that was there. Is all.
Sure.
which makes sense to me now. There's lack of authenticity, I guess, or whatever within the framework that they provided. I don't know. Just funny.
Well, a lot of the advice givers out there in the world, or anybody that kind of pushes some kind of doctrine, they really do it with some kind of agenda behind it. It's, I mean, really actually pretty hard to avoid, I think. If you're when you're trying to, I know I've identified with the concept of a teacher for a very long time. And one of the things that I've really had to work with a lot is the concept of like having agenda inside of that teaching, right? Because like through guidance, well, manipulation, when we talk about manipulation on like the human psychological level, I'm like getting someone else to do something. This is done through guidance. So if I'm purposely going to render myself into a space as a guide, I'm also rendering myself in a place that is completely prone to manipulating other people. If I don't want to manipulate other people, how do I guide them without being manipulative guidance? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big engagement with the idea of what's the agenda, right? Where are you guiding them? Is basically what determines that, right? So like a guide is a good guide or a bad guide based on whether or not you get to the place, pretty much, right? And what that place is, right? So the guide was capable if it got you to the place that they intended to, but if it got you somewhere you don't want to be, then it's not really a good guide. Yeah?
To be picky with words, he's not a good or bad guy whether he got you there. He's an effective guide whether he got you there or not. He may have been a piece of shit, like been really bad, but he got you there.
I just said he was capable. He's a capable guy. If he got you to the place.
Yeah, you clarified it before. I was in the middle of trying to clarify it, but yeah.
It's really basically about whether or not they got you to a place you wanted to be. You know what I mean? And so very much so, this is, well, in my own personal practice, where this kind of turned everything was primarily that, like, I didn't have a thing that I per se guided people to be able to do, right? I would engage with them, find out what they want to do, and then I would authentically tell them whether or not I could actually help them with that and how I would do that. And so they would tell me where they wanted to go, and I would tell them whether I could get them there, and then I would try and get them exactly where they told me they wanted to go. And that's still the way that I operate now, because I give them guidance, but it completely lacks my agenda. My agenda is to guide them wherever they want to go. Right?
Yeah, awesome. That's right on. Yeah, that's great. It's a great way to.
The problem with that is it's a very difficult. Well, you better be pretty fucking good at marketing if you're going to run like a guiding, coaching kind of thing with this type of mentality in your mind. Having said that, if you're good at marketing, you know that you don't actually like with coaching, guiding, anything like that, you don't actually like sell your time or your product. You sell the result, right? So that's where I guess the trick is inside of it. Well, you don't have to. I'm saying, like, even in the conversation directly with the person, you don't sit there and you don't tell them like, well, I'm going to put in this much time for you,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
going to put in
yeah,
this
yeah,
many
yeah.
hours a week, and I'm going to be there doing these things even when we're not together, and this kind of shit. And you don't
Yeah,
go
yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh,
look at these
ugh,
results that other people have gotten, and they're basically trying to sell a product, right? I have the best
yeah,
methods. I have, you know, the best scientific proof. I have the prettiest colors, like whatever it is that you're using your product, you're making it like a product, right? If
yeah,
you're selling either of those two things, you're waiting to fail because you live in a land of competition, and eventually someday you're going to be tired of competing, and then you're going to fail. You
yeah.
have to not be selling that. You have to sell the result. You're always selling a result. You will not ever get what you're worth unless you sell the result. It doesn't matter how long
Awesome.
it takes you to get something done for someone else. If I was capable of you know, enhancing your quality of life 100%, how much would that be worth to you? We're not role playing, I guess. They give you a number at that point in
Oh,
time.
sorry.
They tell you what that would be worth to them,
Space.
and then literally you close right there. All right, let's do it. You don't got to sell them on
Yeah,
how much time it's going to take you and shit. They can ask you that question if they're worried about that. But
right.
there's no reason
The
for you
point
to
is
be
they're gonna get
answering
the
that
result.
question before closing unless you've already like had that objection from a lot of people. Well, how
That
long is
makes
this
sense.
going to take? You know? And if you're
Right.
any good at sales, when they say, how long is this going to take? There's a very obvious answer to it. You basically direct the question right back to them. It's always the case, pretty much, unless you're closing. Then you make a statement and you wait. But otherwise, you just direct the question right back to them because you need more information about them so that you can close and then wait. So you direct it right back to them. They say, how long is this going to take? You say, well, that depends. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed do you feel that you are?
Hmm.
Or on a scale of
It's a
1 to
perfect
10,
question.
how important is this to you? And if they're like, what? How important is it to me? Why are you asking that? Then you can say that, well, the amount of time that it takes depends on how much time a person would be willing to put in naturally, as all things are. So depending on how important it is to you, I can give you some kind of idea on how long that this is going to take. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ask again, how important is this to you? Or you could switch the question up there, not give them the scaling thing, because that might have been the entire reason. They felt like it was like, sometimes people need to just have two options. So if you've given them some kind of scaling thing like that, and they give you some type of resistance coming back, then your best bet is to basically come back with a yes or no question. You tell them that answer, right, that I just gave you, that like it's going to allow me to be able to give you better information about what you want. If I could know this thing, this is important to you, correct? And then they're like, yes. Well, how important would you say that it is? Allow them to give you an abstract answer and you make a fucking number out of it now. All you're really actually trying to get them to do is give you a high number and say yes. That's all you're really trying to do. Because once they give you that high number, then they have placed themselves, they've justified themselves into a position where this is of high importance to them. When they've given you the yes, they've walked down the psychological pathway to saying yes to whatever you're trying to close them on. So
Hmm.
both of these are the answers that you're looking for. So if they don't give you the 1 to 10 answer that you wanted, redirect a question that will allow you to get not only the answer that you wanted, but also an additional yes. That's how you maintain leverage at this table, by making sure you're always holding the position of control in this case. And realize that when it comes to a consumer salesperson interaction, the salesperson is in control all the way up until they say the price. They run the conversation from then on. If they stop running the conversation, they just lost the sale and they're a bad salesperson. If they run the conversation all the way until the price and they do not divulge the price until they are ready to divulge the price because the product, the service, and their exclusivity and capability has already been properly positioned to actually warrant the amount of money that they are charging for their service, they will not divulge that number because that's shooting themselves right in the fucking heart. If I come to you and I tell you, hey, Aaron, you want to work together? It's $1,000 an hour. You're like, no. So it's easy. No. Why?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Fuck no. You know what I mean? I don't even know what it's for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if I take the time to actually position what my skills are, what kind of results it can generate for you, why it is the right choice for you, and then at the end of it, you're like, look, dude, I need this thing. I need to work with you. How much is it? And I'm like, it's $1,000 an hour. We can get started today. That number looks completely different to you now.
Yep.
So that shit don't
I don't-
work. You don't give away these numbers.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, everything Jack just said is one of the many books he's been told to write, I'm sure, and he may
Oh,
not
yeah.
have. So really take
I
note of what he said.
literally
Like,
operate as a business and marketing coach. I literally do this for a living. So
and I've read a lot of sales books. I've done some sales. I'm not the greatest at it, just for whatever the reasons. I mean, I could be in the right dynamics. I'm sure. I mean, just the way you articulate that and I'll body all that shit, like you're way better than I am at that. That's great.
would you like to be a good salesman?
No, it's not important enough to me. Not right now. Sorry,
Well,
sir.
then I can't help you with that at all. Have a nice day.
Great. All right. Can we continue having a good
This
conversation?
is another
So,
sales
sure.
lesson right there. You see a possibility, you determine their interest. If that interest is not high enough to bring you what you believe that you are worth, cut that possibility loose as quickly as possible and move on to another prospect. So, you know, I'm not a good salesman. Well, Aaron, I could teach you to be a salesman. I've done sales for 20 years. I was the top seller at this company and that company, and I've sold my own. So is that something you'd be interested in? You're like, no, I don't give a fuck about selling anything. I just wasted my whole life. My time is valuable. I'm $1,000 an hour. How much did that just cost me to give you this stupid ass spiel when I didn't even determine your interest first? I'm not actually worth $1,000 an hour, obviously. Obviously. Don't buy from that
No,
dude.
there's no interest. Yeah.
No, he doesn't value himself at $1,000 an hour. Otherwise, he was totally fine with just pissing away $250 to talk your ear off for 15 minutes without checking to see whether you were interested first. Why the fuck
Right.
would you want any advice from him? He's literally making stupid decisions right in front of your face. No thanks. I'm gonna pass. Hard pass.
Yeah.
On that
So
one.
for some of you might call that discernment. I just didn't feel right about him. That is why.
Yeah.
There's the logical reason why.
Good enough. That's a good enough reason, you know, and that's
Yep,
the only way
totally.
that basically the consumer, that's the balance at the negotiation table. Is it the person who's there that has the leverage wants something from you, but that means you would have to give it to them, right? So they hold the leverage with once they ain't in the power position by holding the leverage really, because their leverage is just how much their things that they want costs. It's not really actually a very powerful piece of leverage. The most powerful piece of leverage inside of a sales negotiation is that the prospective buyer stands up and walks out without saying anything and never talks to that guy again. That's the biggest piece of leverage. That could happen anytime and for absolutely no reason at all. They don't have to have any reason. They could just be like, I'm going to stand up and leave now and never talk to you again. And then that's a thing. And there's nothing you can do about that. And so they have the ultimate leverage. You know what I mean? And that's the balance at the negotiation table. That's why a salesperson, quote unquote, has to be good at what they do in order to make consistent sales. Is because if they don't understand how to play this balance of honoring the customer while also still honoring themselves, well, then they can't do the job very good. And that's a difficult thing to do.
We had when I worked for Toyota, we had a guy came in that used to be a GM, and I mean he's a really you can tell why the total car sales guy, but he wasn't sleazy. He like walked that line in a way that like he's just fucking he gets the shit, like really gets it, right? And I get sales. Doesn't mean I've really practiced those dynamics and embodied that, but I get a lot of those dynamics of human interaction, just whatever.
I feel like this guy was my friend when I was younger named Dominic. He also sold cars. He wasn't sleazy though. He was just really good at selling shit.
Yeah, and like he was in his this is what 12 years ago now, and he was like in his 60s. He's getting up there, so I don't know, but so like, and I think his name was Don too or something. That's funny, but he said Dominic, but still, but yeah, he kept just conversations with him and shit. So like, but then one of the things he kept saying, you're selling yourself. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're selling the product. but you're selling yourself. It's not. He's like, here, sell the styrofoam cup to me, like just whatever coffee cup in the break room, and just having people do it. And like the point was, I mean, you're making a big deal of a cup or whatever. You're selling yourself, though. You're connecting with him, whatever that means. It's a styrofoam cup. We're not idiots. It's like I'm trying to sell it to him. Like, how do you do this in a way that's connecting to him? That you actually want to value that product from some interaction with you. It matters. They feel good with you. You know, counselors. I mean, you go seek a counselor. You want to find someone who's competent, et cetera, et cetera. It's okay to interview counselors. You know, like I just don't think it's a good fit. A good counselor would say the same thing. It's not about the money.
You know,
the
a good way to sell
qualifications.
somebody a styrofoam cup.
Yeah, do it.
You just sit there across the table from them for about 60 hours and just stare at them, and they stay there the whole time in this idea because they were really committed to giving you the chance to selling them that. And then you ask them if they would like a drink of water, and then you sell them a cup for $10,000.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because how are they gonna have this drink of water? It's gotta go in a cup. You need a cup.
Yeah.
Now you need the cup. That 60 hours of staring you in the face without saying shit generated a big ass space of need. It's called your human life. You're gonna fucking die soon if you don't get this drink of water. You need a cup. I got one. I'm the only dude in the room with a cup. It's $10,000. I have a monopoly on the cups, and you need them. I win. I said nothing. I sat there across the table from you until you got thirsty.
Yeah.
Best way to sell a cup. Find thirsty people.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't ever sell the cup. Find the need. Figure out what result they want. Sell the result. You're not selling them a cup. You're selling them, you're going to continue to live. You need fucking water, and this will get you water. You will live after this. Your life costs $10,000. Do we have a deal? If they got 10 G's, they're going to break bread right there. For sure. You know, they need to live. So, because that's what really it's all about. They need to need shit. You know what I mean? And that loops right back into the why you don't waste time with shit, you know? Ask them whether they're interested. You know? How interested in that are you? You know? If it's a void that you can fill, ask them how much they actually want to fill it. And if, you know, you can, if you've done this long enough, then you've established inside of your mind, for instance, if they give me a number higher than 7, it's worth having the conversation. If it is not higher than 7, it is not worth having the conversation. A 7 is probably not going to work out, but does often enough that it's worth pursuing, but you need to pursue it in the right way. And you probably want to front load it with some kind of way that the price is lower, because what they really are hesitating on is how many resources they're going to have to come off of in order to purchase a thing. 8, 9, or 10, especially like 9 or 10, they don't actually fucking care about the resources. They want the result. So they're good to talk to about whatever you're selling. This literally applies to anything that you're selling. If anybody's watching this, by the way, you're getting like a free $100,000 masterclass right now.
It's
like
very
this.
true. Yep.
So this shit, there's a reason why people don't just distribute this information. If this information is completely distributed, the buyer, aka the people, recognizes that they've always had leverage at the table that was significantly greater than those who are selling, otherwise known as the government in the people metaphor. And if you break down the capitalist chain, then it ends up going into the bureaucratic chain, and then it ends up going into the religious chain, because all of them are selling you something. All of them. And when you understand the mechanics of how that table works, this is, I mean, you know, if you go to a good school for this, we lock this information away behind universities primarily. Now, Harvard School of Business will tell you how to operate a negotiation table. The other schools out there, they ain't that great at it, though. So Chicago School of Economics does a pretty good job too, but they're really better at crunching numbers. So nevertheless, the point is that if you have this kind of information and you recognize that really this is not actually about sales, it's not actually about getting someone to buy your product. It's about getting someone to believe in an idea so that they can live in a different reality, and so can you. Then this data abstracts to a whole lot more than just selling someone a styrofoam cup, and you realize that what you actually might be potentially doing is selling them the reality of their dreams. And if you can get them to buy the reality of their dreams and align the reality of your dreams with that, then they will happily, with all of their effort, work on accomplishing your dreams for you. because it is our dream now. And that's how we win, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we win. We beat them at their own game. Monopoly, motherfuckers. I have to stop this podcast now.
Okay.
I love you guys. And enjoy that stuff. It's good for you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
I love you, Aaron. I'll talk to you
Love you
on
too.
tomorrow.
Okay. Actually, I have one thing to ask you. We can end this one, and then for people who want to come back on, I think I will jump on and read some of this Ubuntu book. So look for that in the next like 20 minutes if you're still here. But yeah, let's end this one.
All
Live
right.
from the CHAZ, the CHOP in Seattle.
Peace, everyone. Love, everyone. Unity, everyone. Respect, everyone. We are all one. So I'm only asking you to do that stuff for one thing. It's not a big ask. Good night.